I'm Brandon, artist and co-creator of the upcoming graphic novel Magic Cop here at Zaid Comics, set to launch on Indiegogo in August of 2019. And I'm just one half of the best looking brothers in all of comic book industry. And today I want to highlight an artist that we found pretty early on when we were working on Magic Cop. Phil liked his art style and felt that it fit really well with the Magic Cop universe, because it's kind of like that Miami Vice 1980s really cool and streamlined universe, and art style goes along with it perfectly. And we'll be talking about our friend Pablo Romero. He has such an amazing art style. It's perfect for everything that we have going on with Magic Cop and here at Zaid Comics. So we're going to take a look at the Magic Cop cover here first. As you can see, it's super stylized 1980s, even going all the way down to just the colors and just how everything is kind of laid out together. The hairstyles and the big shoulder pads and all of the I love it. It's so cool. It's really hard for me to explain because I'm super excited to get Magic Cop out there for everybody to see. And this is one of the first pieces. Actually, this is the first piece that we've had that somebody else did the artwork that was beside myself. So seeing another person do the artwork for the characters that I had created is really, really cool. And Pablo does such an amazing job with the characters and just compositional layout. As you can see here, it's just fantastic. He even took the design of the car that Magic Cop drives and made it look super cool. It's exactly how I designed it, but he was able to interpret it from just the couple of sketches that I had sent him, and it looks exactly like how it should. All the way down to like the futuristic 1980s grill on the front, and the way that the hood curves and the pop-up headlights. Here you can see this is some other art that Pablo has up on his ArtStation. If you're familiar with ArtStation, it's a really nice artistic platform for artists to showcase their work. Along the lines of DeviantArt, ArtStation is kind of taking its place with professional artists. It's becoming a pretty outstanding website to showcase some stuff. And here you can see just Pablo's amazing 1980s art style. He's able to capture that style and make it his own. And I feel like anytime there's going to be a piece of art in the comic book industry now that even resembles that 1980s flat, low gradient style, it's going to be distinctly Pablo Romero, and that's a super important thing to have when you're an artist. This is a little bit of a different style. I love this character. She looks like she's straight out of Streets of Rage. She's got that vinyl suit on with the oversized see-through red goggles and her thigh-high boots. Such a really cool character. I'm not sure if she's from anything specifically, but she's just Streets of Rage right there. It even kind of looks like there's a garage door behind her. Yeah, it just kind of looks like that. That's super cool. Maybe she's from something, I don't know, but I love this picture. It is a little bit of a different style because it has the gradient colors in there, which is he doesn't do that too frequently, but he does it, and it turns out really, really awesome, as you can see here. Even the hair, the lighting on the hair is really cool. I don't know what that logo is up in the corner, but the way that he puts like that torn edge around the picture frame to make it look like it's an old photograph that's kind of worn, that somebody's had in like their semi-truck for a long time. This is another really awesome style that he does. It's kind of like that Art Deco, post-contemporary style. I remember seeing this when I was growing up in the early 90s, all of like that wall art that was left over from the 80s. Sometimes it would be like a woman's face with no skin tone, but like really red lipstick and like the real outlandish eyelashes, real close up on the face, or like the hair. This is a perfect example of that. And he goes as far as to add like a really 1980s texture onto her tank top, and it looks phenomenal. As you can see, this guy has no boundaries for capturing his style. He can make everything, he could just do everything, and it's always perfect. It's so awesome, and that's one of the things I love working with him. As you can see here, another amazing example of the 1980s. The palm trees are the perfectly representation of the Magic Cop universe. And this is not from Magic Cop, but I believe this is one of the images that Phil was going through his art station, and he saw that these palm trees and the sun in the background, the color schemes were perfect with the obtuse shapes in the background, making it distinctly 1980s. And even if it didn't have any of that stuff in there, her giant hair and the over-the-shoulder dress, he knows exactly how to capture the era, but still bring it up into modern times where you're not like, oh man, look at how old this art looks. I love that he has his own style, and it's very important as an artist to make sure that you have your own style. This piece I absolutely love. The pink hair, the robe, the pasties, this see-through jumper that she has on. It's awesome. The chicks are always super hot chicks, which I love. I love that art style of like that kind of idealistic form. To me, it's art. That's what you want to do. I love the old Greeks, the way they would do that with their art to the perfect ideal form. And obviously, that's what you want to draw here. And so Pablo is doing that perfectly. Even again with the shapes in the background is really inspiring to me, because I started working on a 1980s fitness catalog, and I've added the obtuse shapes into the background with like that post-futuristic computer age. Here's another piece that he's done in a little bit of a different style. This is more of like a painted or airbrush style, but he includes the pinball bouncing off of the laser grid in the background with these starbursts, and that's super 1980s. Here, giant shoulder pads with the split colored dress and the obtuse shapes in the background, again with the giant hair. He's just awesome. This piece here is amazing. This looks like it's straight out of the old arcade game Bad Dudes, with the super sexy woman, and she has the ninja headband on her head, but she's in the 80s on the phone with somebody, and it's like she's straight out of the old arcade side-scrolling beat-em-up game Bad Dudes, or something like that, Double Dragon, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm not sure if she's from anything. Maybe it's a character that he has. Like this one here is another great example of a classic comic book cover style that he's done with a nice muted colors. He knows really, really well how to deal with having that low saturation in his colors, so that the reds and the purples and the blues are not just straight red and straight purple and straight blue. It's really important, especially if you're going to do an art style like this, to make sure that you tone down those colors so that it doesn't look cheap. I always felt when I would see colors that are just too vibrant and they're right next to each other, it makes the piece look really cheap. It makes it look like you're not putting a lot of effort into what you're doing. So here he goes as far as to making sure that all of the colors are just as muted as everything else, so that they blend together really nicely and they showcase the character just absolutely perfectly, even with her power stance and her flowing hair in the background. He does such an excellent job on making you wonder what's going on here. What kind of character is this? What is this from? I don't know if this is a cover for something. I think that would be really cool. He does a lot of fan art, and he does a lot of commission art for other people's comic books. So it's possible that this is a piece for another character called Shatter Whip, or a character in another comic book that somebody was working on. I just loved it because I love the pose that she's in. I love the weapon and the goggles and the minimalistic clothing that she has on with the thigh-high boots are super, super 1980s. Kind of like heavy metal, like the old Simon Bisley heavy metal art pieces. That was always something that I thought was really cool. Even Phil is a huge Simon Bisley fan, and he actually wanted me to draw. I ended up airbrushing it a piece for his motorcycle tank, Phil's motorcycle tank. So I did that in the Simon Bisley art style for heavy metal, which it turned out super cool. The giant hair and the giant goggles. I love this piece here with the giant shoulder pads. It accentuates her hourglass shape on the giant hair with the huge goggles. 1980s, just amazing. The background and everything, it's super cool. Like, she could be an interdimensional being, or she could be the lead singer of some sort of 1980s rock band. This piece is also super cool. I thought it was very reminiscent of like Cable from the X-Men with the shoulder pads, like Rob Liefeld style art. He also goes as far as to not show any feet here, just like Rob Liefeld would. So, joking, of course. Here's another really awesome piece. I love the minimalistic approach that he's done to color in a lot of the pieces that he has. If you go onto his art station, you'll be able to see his whole collection of everything. And it's so cool seeing an artist push the boundaries of what you can do with certain colors and textures and just shapes. This is basically just a collection of shapes, and I just love the way that it turned out with no skin tone or anything like that. Here's another example of just how great this guy is, and the body styles and the hairstyles and the faces are always spot on. I love this piece here because it reminds me of like those old magazines in the back of the magazine, and it's like, hey, call this number if you want to talk to this super hot babe, and she's going to be on the phone with you, and it's 89 cents a minute or whatever. And I'm sure that's exactly what he was thinking of, but he does such a great job capturing that, and the texture of everything is just phenomenal. The background is perfect with the blinds and the wallpaper texture. He's just so good. Here's a piece from his own comic that he's working on called Man-Eater, the black guy and the girl, or the black man and the girl. I don't remember which one it is. He's since changed the title of it to Man-Eater, and I think that's really cool because now he can expand on the story with his second set of stories coming out called The Old Man and the Girl. And I was reading this and I didn't know what it was going to be about, and I was like, man, this is kind of a weird comic. And then right near the end, it turned a corner and became a story about something completely different, and I love the way that it went. And now I'm really looking forward to The Old Man and the Girl. I think that's going to be a really cool IP for him, and I love that he's got some of his own stories and comics out there too that he's working on, even though he works so hard in the industry with all of the independent creators, and he has this amazing turnaround time. Phil contacted him to do a commission for us, and it was, at the end of the day, he had a sketch. The next day he had the colors flatted. We sent him a couple of edits that we wanted to do, specifically on Magic Cop's clothing, because it's not just a regular suit. So we sent him those edits, and then the next day he had the entire piece done, and it was just insane on the turnaround time. The quality is amazing. He went in and put kind of like newsprint texture on the images, and everything is in halftone dots. It turned out awesome. So if you guys want to keep up on Magic Cop, head over to zaidcomics.com and sign up for our newsletter. We just opened up our newsletter signups, and you can go there and get access to Magic Cop Karaoke Express, which is our first pilot episode that we're going to be putting out, and it's going to be released on Free Comic Book Day. But if you guys want it a few days early, go to zaidcomics.com and sign up for our newsletter, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My handle is @ZaidNinja, and follow Zaid Comics on Twitter, and we'll see you guys next time.